Buncombe County Election Services.
Fantastic, thank you. And I really appreciate you who have stayed to the bitter end for this. You know, staying through the entire process is important. People are interested in how things work, which is amazing for a process that is really pretty dry. So you're helping give the full picture by staying through to the end. Last week and the prior week was our canvas period. We talked a little bit about that previously, but we completed our sample audit. That's our hand-eye count where 2 random voting locations are selected and the humans check to make sure that the machine results are what humans would count too. So that was completed successfully. We also counted the last of our absentee ballots that came in timely after Election Day, as well as our provisional ballots. On Friday was a very exciting day for us. That was our canvas day. And you know, it's one that is truly exciting in our office because that's when results are finalized. Some people celebrate who won and we celebrate an accurate vote count. And it's definitely true. And so that was a fantastic day, and that is where my staff presents the election audit and the board reviews the tapes and all of the reports, and they ask questions until they are satisfied that the results are reported accurately, and then they are the actual ones who certify the election. It's called an election abstract that they sign as a notarized document that gets sent to the State Board of Elections, the County Clerk of Court, and then we hold a copy here as well. So that's Canvas. We're very happy with how things went. Official results are available now, as well as voter history, and the turnout statistics are available currently. And then we will be updating our dashboards as well. We have several dashboards that have different ways to look at the data on our website. So those will be updated soon. Just for some final numbers, we had 120,558 people vote in this election. So we had higher number of people than in 2018, though our percentage was a little bit lower. We had a 57.5% turnout for Buncombe County, which is a little bit higher than the state's average, which was around 50%. For Election Day, we had 42,475 voters. Early voting, 70,367. So we stayed with the trend of early voting being our most popular voting method. Absentee by mail was 7,506 voters, and then we had 210 provisional votes. We actually had 581 provisionals, but 210 of those were eligible and counted by our board. The ones that were not counted were people who weren't registered by Election Day, primarily. After the canvas period, 6 days after, we do issue certifications, like certificates of election. And I thought that might be interesting for all of you to see because this actually is a certificate. So here's an example of one of them. These go out 6 days after Canvas Day to all of the contest winners or the results of any referendum. So those will be going out next week. And then I think the other 2 things that I thought might be of interest are that no contests were eligible for a recount in Buncombe County. So Buncombe County will not be seeing a recount this election. And then the other deadline that happens immediately after Canvas is the protest deadline. So at noon, the second business day after Canvas is the time for protests to happen. So protests are, not a picketing protest, but it would be, it's the way for any if there's reason to believe that the election was not conducted the way it should be. So after canvass and after the board has reviewed everything, if there was some new information that that was learned, then any registered voter in Buncombe County can file a protest, and that would be reviewed by our board as well. And we never like seeing that happen, but that avenue is there to make sure that things are fair, and we don't have that either. So all is well here in Buncombe County. And then lastly, I wanted to go over kind of the year in review, because really the election started almost a year ago in December of 2021, and a lot happened this year. And so in 2021, in December, we started filing. And remember that a primary is what is preparing for the general election. And so we started filing for the primary in December. And I think we filed for 1 or 2 days, and then that was halted. When that halt happened, it was because there were possibly going to be new districts drawn. And we also got the Asheville City School Board added at that time. It did turn out that districts changed, and so we resumed filing again, and then the whole entire election. So we had to shift our entire schedule by 3 months, and that was a really big deal. Then we had a few pretty minor law changes. One was that as long as you were not incarcerated for a felony, you were eligible to vote. And then there was also some disabled voter protections that were applied primarily to absentee. So then we ran the primary election, and we went through up to election day, and we had some close races. And then we did our canvass period, and we ended up with a tie. So that definitely went into recount. And then that recount resulted in the winner winning by 1 vote. Pretty unusual. We didn't result in a second primary, but we had a really quick turnaround anyway. So we had to turn around and get our election started. We were sending out absentee ballots by September 9th for the general election. And then we started early voting in October. We had 12 sites, and we did have lots of boisterous people, but there was none of the fears about people being disruptive were realized. So that was really great. We had more improvements in the process than I can name here, but the end result is that we had results in more quickly than we have ever had for an election this size. We had a lot of positive attention on elections in general, and I really felt a shift kind of in the tide of things, where we heard plenty of skepticism about the process, but I think a lot of minds were also changed, and we heard from supporters and people really they stood up to be heard, and that's what voting's about. So I'm very happy also with just with the social aspect of how this election went as well. So with that, I can open it up to questions.
Corinne, we have a few questions that Helen Chickering submitted. Even though she can't be here, we're going to supply her with the recording of this. But her first question is highs and challenges of this election from your end.
So the highs and the challenges were the same to me, which was that engagement by people who felt passionately about the process from all different angles. It was really exciting to see people coming out, asking questions, challenging the process, really trying to understand how things work. So that was difficult because that means that we have to increase our capacity to be able to have that connection. And it was amazing to have the opportunity to have that connection and see people really engaging.
Okay, next question for people wondering about their voter history record timeline on when that will be updated.
So the voter history is updated on our website. You can download that information. And I believe it is also up in the voter information tool. I'm gonna go look that up really quickly and verify that for everybody. And voter history depends on when the county applies their voter history. Buncombe County does it the day of canvass, and so so ours is up currently, but it doesn't mean that every county does that. And yes, our voting history is also available in the voter history tool. So if you're just a voter wanting to look up your voter history, you can do that through the voter information tool. If you're a data person and you want all of the data on our website, you can download a file for the entire election.
Final question from Helen. Do you get a break now? What's next on your agenda?
That is a good question. You know, we get to run at a reasonable pace now. We definitely don't get a break. What's happening now is we are doing the 30-day sort, which is where counties who, it's kind of technical, but counties who sort their ballots by ballot style during early voting have to split all of those results out into the precincts so that data can be analyzed at the precinct level. And so we have to go through all of our early voting ballots, which, as you know, is our biggest voting method, split those out all into their precincts and present the results that way. And we have till December 9th to do that. So we have to rescan those 70,000 ballots so that they get sorted properly. Then we have to archive all that material. And remember, there's 120,558 voters. For each of those voters, there's at minimum 2 pieces of paper. So that's a lot of materials that we have to archive. We're doing that, and then we have to organize all of those supplies. So from the 80 precincts, from all of the early voting locations, all of those supplies need gone through and reorganized so that we're ready for the next election. And then it's budget time. We'll start reviewing our budget and putting that together, and all of that is approved by our board, so that's public, done at a public meeting as well. And we also have a lot of goals for 2023 to get ready for 2024, which isn't that far away.
WLOS questions? Great. Well, we appreciate y'all for being here, and this is our last elections Q&A for this election season, but we'll be back next election season with more opportunities. And we thank you for being here and for your attention to this.
Absolutely.
Have a great day.
Thank you.